So, how y'all doing today? Today we're at an old monastery and church about 2 miles from where I live at. It's called the Kloster Konradsdorf. And it's near Ortenberg, Germany. Ortenberg here in Hessen in Germany. And this is just an outside view of the two buildings. This portion looks like it was added on later. Now there's a couple of information things over here. I'm going to walk over there and I'll read you off a few things. Okay, this has all been here for longer than 1200 years. Here's what they think it may have looked like around the 900s, so at least 1200 years ago, if not earlier. The first church came in here in the 1000s. Around the 1200s, it may have looked like this. 1912. Now the church was used as a barn to house the animals from 1781 all the way up to about early 1900s. No, early 20th century, so 1910, 1912. So why don't we take a closer look at this building here. Okay, now here we have a picture. This is supposedly to be one of the nuns and two of her children. That's what they say around here. But I had a couple of archaeologists tell me that if you look at how pointed the chins are, that's how back then they designated men when they were sculpturing their faces. So it can go either way. Here we have an old fireplace. Here's a couple of jugs. And let's see, they were found in the 1900s. But I don't see a date on here. Another closed off window. Let's see what this is. There's another closed off window or doorway. Oh, in the 1920s, there was a big fire here. Here shows you they were excavating and doing their archaeological digs here in 2018, 2022. Yeah, I was living near here. Why shouldn't I have been informed of this? Looks like some kind of a pillar. So let's just look around here in the building. There's a big window. There's another closed off doorway. I wonder what we got here. Well, there's a brochure telling about it. So let's walk over. It just shows part of the basement area here, which I'm sure is much larger, but they're not going to let us into it. Here we have a view out the windows. Over there's the town of Selters, and back behind it, farther off, is the town of Ortenberg, about a mile from my house. There we go. So they think that this room here could have looked something like this at one time. Okay, let's go back outside and go upstairs and see what's in here. Okay, that's where we're going to go into in just a second. Just another view outside here. We're actually in a huge, huge farm complex up here. And this has been farmed way back 800, 700, 600. So here we have an old fireplace, it looks like. There we go, that's a little bit better. We got big windows. And now this is the town of Selters. I had to drive through that to get here. That is the beginning of the town of Ortenberg, and I live on the other side of that hill where that television tower is, or the mobile phone tower is up there, cell phone. Hello. Also about this area, this low area here, there's a creek running through there, and there used to be a lot of ponds out here. And you see how it was divided up into squares. That's where people would come out and fish in. And there are fish in that little creek out there. I've never caught anything yet, but then again, I've never really tried to fish that much. And here we have a picture of what they think it would have looked like back when you looked out the window in the 1300s. So 12 something. Here we have another doorway, so I imagine there were stairs going down there. More blocked off areas. Well, I doubt it. Could have been a chimney, a second one. I don't know. There's a book nearby. I'm gonna have a look at it, see what it says. This it looks like from where the fire was. Here was also a fireplace. I think that was a little chapel or a place where you could pray at. And then here was a big fireplace. And that fireplace I showed you, they figured it would have probably looked something like this at that time. So we're on the back side of that building now, and you see here the different entrances that are blocked up. There's a small cross. Here's the church again. We're going to get ready to go into that in a minute. So let's go see what this is. Okay, I'm not sure if it's just an underground area, if it's actually here or not, but this is what they call a bind house. It was made of bones. As the cemetery would get full, they would go in, dig out the dig out the graves, take out the old bones, and build houses out of them and other things. You can see that in a lot of different areas. There we go. There's the bind house. Yeah, that's the basilica. So this right here would be the bind house. But of course, most of it's all been destroyed or rotted away, so they just built it up in stone. So we're going to go into the church now and have a look around. There's another closed off windows. Take a pan around on the outside. These are all barn areas for the farm complex. There's an older house back there in the back. A friend of mine actually used to live there. This is the main house. Oh, I see another house in the background. Let me go see if I can get a quick picture of that in here. That's that other house I saw back in the background. I see plants in there, but I don't know if it's lived in or not. There's another little building. I wouldn't mind having something like that stuck out here in the middle of nowhere. It is so peaceful and so quiet up here. So the first known written records of Konradsdorf is from 1108, and it's under the name of Henricus de Konradsdorf. And they figure he was royalty somehow or another, but they don't know anything whatsoever about him. And if it was in 1108, it's been here several hundred years more than that. So we are in the church proper now, and this is actually what they think it probably looked like back then. Okay, and you see how this section here is built up? That's where these come into play. That is where they would lay the first beam, and then they would lay the floors on that. Looks like there was some kind of a painting up there. That would have been where the altar was. And I imagine it was well painted and well illustrated. There's probably another painting. I see a couple of closed up areas up there. So let's walk over into this section. Here's a couple of things they found here when excavating. There's probably Maria and the baby Jesus. No idea. Here is a vessel of some type. Oops, sorry about that. Now, of course, all this is new here. Maybe it was a fireplace back behind there, and it's got it blocked off. Here we have an old grave that they dug out. Because a lot of the royalty and stuff like that are buried in the floors of these churches. Wait till I go to Marburg and get into two big churches up there, and I'm able to show you everything. There's the grave as they were digging it out. It's an old picture of it. These were supposedly here at one time, paintings on the wall, but these are now been transferred to the big church in Ortenberg. I think I've already shown that to you, but this is the main spot where the altar was here. Walking backwards, so I got to be careful. There's a carving up there. I imagine all of these columns had carvings above them back then. Here we have a gravestone. They say that could be the gravestone for someone by the name of Elizabeth. And you can see that in the last three letters, that E-L-B, or I. And it says here there was someone in Büdingen in 1347 to 1351 that was named Elizabeth Maiden. Here's what they think the altar section looked like back then. And this was back in the 1400s. Here's another bigger one. That's the same section. This is over here in the side where I'm standing at now. You can see there are murals up there on the walls. The ceilings were painted. That's when they were digging the graveyards. This was found outside. That will be this here. There's another window behind it that's blocked up. And down here we have 3 or 4 more gravestones. Let's walk over and take a look. Okay, here's the first gravestone. This is Mesthild from Breuberg, also the House Waldeck. And she lived from 1287 to 1340. Next we have Gerlach from Breuberg. Oh, I don't see any in the 1400s. That's about all it says about him. And the last one is Eberhard from Breuberg. These are all royalty. They're buried down here somewhere. And he lived from 1285 to 1323. And then we have this one here. And I just see that as it is a gravestone, but I just see coats of arms on it. No writing, no nothing. And here's a little carving here. Now to fix this place up to its original splendor would be super, super expensive. You just couldn't do it. So as we pan around here again real shortly. There's the exit. I'm going to see if I can get outside through the weeds and the burning nettles to take shoot a video on the back side of it. Last view of everything here. That's an old barn section. This house is still lived in. This whole place has been lived in way before the 800s. Maybe even before the time of Christ. And there's a school up there. So it's the local grammar school through high school, our equivalent of grammar school through high school. Okay, Lloyd. Okay, people, I guess we'll catch you on the next one then in a few days.